So I've got a monologue exam tomorrow for my uni course, and I've been practicing a lot over the phone to people and to myself in this mirror that you're in front of, but when doing it in front of actual people that I'm not as comfortable with, or just performing it, I get very nervous because I'm talking about really in-depth things, so I thought I'd go and publish it online to millions of people to help me get over those nerves because the exam's tomorrow. So this is a monologue around 5 minutes long that I wrote myself. Yeah, oh my god, my heart's beating so fast. Nervous. Yeah, so I don't really want feedback, you're welcome to give it if you want, but I just kind of want to say this and do it. So, here goes. As I've got older, I've come to realise that I'm quite strange. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't believe that I'm one of those people who think that they dress so differently or are really unique or think outside the box or are generally quite different to the rest of us. No, what I mean is that as I've grown into this more confident person, I've come to realise a few things about myself. Like, for example, how I can't bring myself to walk over free drains. Now, the common superstition is that free drains are bad luck, right? Wrong. I do not really think this at all, and to be honest, with all the superstitious stuff, if a black cat crosses my path, I'm much more likely to go chasing after it than backing into a corner flashing my religious cross at it. But back to the original point, with the free drain scenario, I almost caused myself injury avoiding it. Another thing that comes to mind is medicine. As a child, my parents would literally have to force me to take any sort of medicine past this delicious cowpole age. I remember being hysterical tears. I don't know what it was, but I was convinced that it was causing me more harm than good. Even today, I have a problem if the paracetamol dust gets on my fingers. It's strange, isn't it? People have these little habits. Now, thinking such things at such a young age did the only thing it could to a young girl. It set in a sort of isolation from others. With not many friends to start with, and sometimes convinced my family were against me, it makes me wonder 10 years or so down the line now, why it is when those dark, niggling, depressive moods come over me, I get caught and I get stuck and I get stuck and I get stuck, because then I'm overthinking and then I'm analysing and then the self-doubt kicks in because you're crazy, right? Because stop, because you don't know what to do, because then everything's getting worse and you question whether it's even got better, right? And what is wrong with you? See what I mean, right? Strange. Now, we all have that one person who to us is a sort of extra limb, whether it's a boyfriend, girlfriend, sister. And I have that in my best friend, who's been my anchor for almost 15 years. But who I'm really on about is my dad. My dad has always been literally the most important person to me in the world. And as much as I would try to explain him, nothing would come close to explaining how much of an amazing person he was. He was one of those rare people who didn't have an enemy in the world. Now, one thing that always comes to mind when I focus in on him is the first line of what I'd written when I read at his funeral earlier this year. It read, "The most regrettable thing about my dad not being here is that not everybody got to meet him." Now, after that, everything's a blur, and I couldn't continue. My sister had to do it for me. But the point I'm trying to get across here is, when those dark, depressive moods would come over me, and I was trapped by my depression, I'd be able to go to my dad. If I wanted to tell him, that was fine. And if I didn't, well, that was fine too. I feel lost and I feel numb without him, and I can't really tell if things are building to this terrible climax or I'm actually getting better at all. Everyone back home is so proud of me and they think I'm so strong, passing my exams, getting awards, getting on with things generally. But what scares me the most is that it's the only thing that I can do. If I stop, then what happens to me then? Will I be consumed? Dad isn't here to pick up the pieces, and he shouldn't have to. I've got this compulsive need to be there and strong for others when I don't really know how to be there for myself. And that makes me wonder, am I doing it just because I'm a good person? Or am I doing it because, well, I'm just selfish? Thinking about things further, I can count at least 7 sounds that give me a physical repulsion as to where I want to leave the room. Every time before I use a public loo, I tear off the first 2 sheets of toilet roll. If I talk about scratching my nose or consciously notice somebody else scratching their nose, I have to scratch my nose. I drink everything but tea and water through a straw, and I count to 20 most mornings before waking up, but I try not to overthink those things too much.